Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Only a look at Jesus, oh, so bow down with care. Jesus promised
This morning we will pray Psalms 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their lines is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them had he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the ends of the heavens, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statute of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgment of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Who can stand in his error? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sin. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgressions. Let the word of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good morning. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. We're going down the road this morning that we should have taken yesterday. But yesterday morning's program was so important, so we have to jump ship. We're not going to tarry too long this morning because the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee is quite a long video, but we will go through it because there are very important bits and pieces in it. I mean, of the time and media space to slot it out. So the best thing to do is for all of us to listen together. And the areas where I want to object, the area where them juke me, the area where people like Samuda, Dalrymple, Filbert, and the lot juke me with command pin or bar wire, then me going to have it up and jump out upon them. Because it's one disgrace to have a thief in Parliament. It's one of the disgrace to have a thief in the cabinet. But a bigger disgrace when that thief sits on the integrity oversight body. It really couldn't get any worser than that. The Andrew Holness regime, led by corruption, by nepotism, by cronyism, and downright Thuggery.
10 years, just say. 10 long years and look how Jamaica stay. No light, no road, no food pan we plate. People are suffer while Andrew a live great. Eh, eh. You stand up on the platform, smile wide and proud. I tell we about prosperity, but we can't see it all now. Ha! Hurricane come through and left the people bare. 6 months later, them still out there, asleep under the air. Their JLP friends them build high rise, roads still full of holes. A house pocket to a field, while the nation lose its soul. Hospital overflow, picnic can't get bed. School roof a leak, but you and Juliet well fed. You always have excuse, always pass the blame. Every time something wrong, it never go in your name. Jamaica a drown and you claim you're unclean. Biggest actor in our politics we ever see. Boldness, time to go, time to go. The people, we say no. 10 years and we can't take no more, you know, hear us. We are not on the door. Boldness, time to go, time to go. From Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Boldness, time to go. Farmer can't afford to plant, food price reach the sky. You bring in the poverty while your own people cry. We born ya, we grow ya, we bleed for this land. But Andrew at the top won't extend the man. You talk about vision, you talk about plan. But 10 years later, we still can't understand. Corruption report land and nobody charge. The people pocket small, but the scandal them large. What's crack up parish council, bro? Country suffocating and it just smoke. And when we raise the voice, you call we political. But the truth is the truth and the truth is biblical.
Police, time to go.
Time to go. The people,
Let's say no.
we say no. 10 years and we can't take no more, you know hear us. We are not on the door.
Police, time to go.
Time to go. From Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. All less our time to go. We no want no hype, we no want no speech. We want action, no, not the lies you preach. Hurricane victims still under tarpaulin. Prime Minister fly gone foreign. Your JLP cabinet full, but the people COVID empty. Oh, you live so large when we live in so scanty. Not with fists, not with fire, but with voice. Them rising higher and higher. From every parish, every yard, every gate. Jamaica speaking and I know too late.
Police, time to go.
Time to go. The people,
Let's say no.
we say no. 10 years and we can't take no more, you know hear us. We are not on the door.
Police, time to go.
Time to go. From Kingston to Negril, the people say so. We tired, we hungry, we done with the show. Oh, yes, our time to go. This one is for every Jamaican. We can't afford feet. We are sleep on cardboard. We are drive on broken road. The people don't forget. The people don't forgive. Enough is enough. Jamaicans will live.
Baron Leslie, good morning. Philly Odd Vibes, good morning. Lynette Jenkins, Gloria Morris, good morning. Mr. Upton, good morning. Karen Lamar, Empress Deb, Errol Reed, Marcia Essay, Michelle Clark, Monica Wills, Adolphus Dunn, good morning, good morning. Jamrock 8766, Richard Reed, Barbara Simpson, Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson. Good morning, good morning to all of the silent listeners, to those watching on their TV, their iPods, their projectors, wherever you're watching from. Good morning and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Sheena Kelly, good morning. Good morning, all. Now, we're going to take the joyride This morning, my browser has lost connection, it says. Evan Miller, good morning. Pamela Akola, good morning. We're going to take a joyride this morning with the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee in Parliament. But before we take such a joyride, I have two questions to ask the People's National Party. You would have seen last week where two people step aside from the People's National Party's shadow cabinet. That is Azan, Richard Azan, Marcia Thomas. Good morning. Althea, good morning. And that is Azan and Vaz. More so, I want to ask question about Dwayne Vaz, though, but in the broader context, where, and this is, for me, the political flimsy excuse, where it is said they have stepped down from the shadow cabinet to focus on their constituency. Are you all saying, if we got the big job as well, if we were in power and we got the big job, you couldn't focus on your cabinet portfolio and the constituency? When I hear flimsy excuse of such, it leaves me to ask broader questions, particularly in relation to Dwayne Vaz, Mark Golden. Is Dwayne Vaz stepping aside, or did you ask Dwayne Vaz to step aside? And does that have anything to do with the Julian Chang scandal? I'm just thinking, because when you hear them say they step aside to focus on their constituency, no go so. Take it from me, Rennis Nicholson. Good morning. When you hear politicians say they step down or step aside to focus on their constituency, nothing don't go so. There is a broader context to it. And I wish the PNP could answer the question in particular to Dwayne Vaz. Does this have anything to do with the Julian Chang issue? Because if it is that they were in power, I mean, are you saying you couldn't handle your cabinet portfolio and your constituency at the same point? How heavy it is being the shadow spokesman as opposed to the cabinet? And most the research, una do and present an argument, una not do no portfolio work. Michael Nipper, good morning. Una not have no heavy portfolio. We fi hamper una from paying attention to una constituency. What is the broader context, PNP? Because I'm not going to be like the PNP vlogger them where blame Nesta Morgan and blame everybody else for them stepping aside. What is the broader context? The excuse Mark Golden is quite a flimsy one. They step aside to focus on their constituency. Are them one of constituency? And are they saying to the people of Jamaica? Because what they're saying, Mark Golden chose me who wasn't fit enough to deal with a cabinet portfolio if we were in government. That's what the message is, you know. I don't know to the other docile PNP vloggers who, rather than questioning Mark Golden, want to blame the PNP. We can't keep blaming Labour for everything we are going in a PNP. This is a PNP internal issue. If it is that PNP Labour writer make them life hard and them step aside because of that, that shows that them never equipped from morning. So that would still be an internal issue where Mark Golden would be choosing the wrong people for the wrong job. PNP vloggers gonna wake up Wake up and deal with the internal issues and stop blame Labour Party for the internal issues. Because we're not going to have Labour Party for blame for a very long time. If it is that Dwayne Vaz and Richard Azan can step aside to focus on them constituency, they were never equipped. No, him that Luton Cousins, and a Luton Cousins giving the two portfolio together, London Works now, Luton Cousins have, isn't it? I'm sure that's how it is. Luton Cousins been given land and works. Yeah, because Dwayne Vaz and Azan, is my understanding, step aside to focus on them portfolio, them constituency. So, my youth, what him name? Luton Cousins is now, because Dwayne Vaz was doing roads and work, which is the same works that's been given to Cousins. And a land or whatever him that did do, whatever man that they do. But those two, as I understand it, step aside, and now Luton Cousins is doing land and works. Violet Watson, how are you? But the little flimsy excuse don't work with people like me, because that says you were never suitable for the cabinet. If the PNP were elected, you were never suitable for the cabinet. Now me hear PNP vloggers blaming Nesta Morgan this and how Nesta Morgan for blame Yasso? If it is that any frustration or whatever coming from Nesta Morgan, then this is where they must press harder and be more robust in their spokesmanship or their cabinet shadowship of their job. But to step aside, so now go focus on a constituency, that's the flimsiest excuse any politician could come up with. So tell us what the bigger issue is in the background, because we know them not step down to focus on a constituency, because we not see when nobody doing a constituency in our country. Neither Labour nor PNP. Colin Morning. We don't see we need a Labour nor PNP doing a constituency in our country. So please tell us, especially if we're doing Vaz, if doing Vaz step down to do with anything to do with the investigation in relation to Julian Chang. What am I doing a constituency? What improvement the constituency development fund, them use and the constituency development fund and do? That we say the improvement in a constituency. How much advocacy we see from them in parliament in relation to their constituency? So please tell us what the bigger picture is. Because we know the small picture, we want to present to we. I know it no go so. I know that maybe your docile PNP vloggers no say no so it go. But please tell us what it is, rather than trying to pull a wool over the public eye. But they step aside to focus on their what constituency them a focus on. I hope they produce the result for sure. The focus will then step aside for upon them constituency. Because some of these vloggers also up their favorite politicians' ass that they can't see the role plays. What constituency now focus on? What constituency? PNP, please tell us. Oh, please. Anyway. we're going to go straight to the Integrity Commission oversight because there's a lot to see and a lot to hear. We're going to listen to the thieves. When you think of the Andrew Holness regime, a regime presided over by 11 years of corruption, 11 years of scandal, from the very top down, Quell morning, from the very top down, from Andrew Holness right down, as Mark Golding would say, if the head of the stream is dirty, the entire stream would also be corrupt. The JLP has a top-down corruption issue. The JLP have almost half of their MPs under the probe for illicit enrichment. Could be money secured from drug dealing, money laundering, weapon sales, robbing, scamming, and stealing, all sorts. Illicit enrichment is no good way of securing money in your bank balance. In the Prime Minister's case, in the Integrity Commission report, we learned of people just walking up to Cash Point and putting thousands in the Prime Minister's account, almost to the tune of $500,000. Where are those money from? No one knows. But this same government runs the Integrity Commission. What do you think about Andrew Holness? Jamrock, I did my program yesterday morning was on that very question you're asking. So if you have not watched yesterday's morning program, you may need to watch it when this one is over, because I dealt with that topic. I dealt with that topic yesterday morning, which I was meant to do this show yesterday morning, but when the video of Andrew Holness and the president of the Nurses Association came across me, then I switch and focus on that. So my program was on that yesterday morning, so you might want to check that out when this is through. Right. Let us continue on to the Integrity Commission oversight. A lot to hear here.
Are practical, are lawful, are sensible, whether the report identifies matters requiring Parliament's attention. That is the work of oversight. So we have to, as the Oversight Committee, be attentive to the relationship also, very important, between investigation and prosecution. The difference between prosecution and persecution is not the seriousness of an allegation. It is the discipline of the process. Prosecution is evidence-led, law-bound, and fair. Persecution is what justice becomes when power outruns proof, process.
Now, what Colonel Charles is saying here, that the Integrity Commission is no longer following the law. The Integrity Commission work is not evidence-based. It is a power. They're using their power with political allegiance to persecute, not prosecute. Prosecute is to go where the evidence lead you. But persecution is unlawful arbitrary targeting of a person because You don't like their political allegiance, their culture, their color, their anything that you don't like about them, is what Colonel Charles is alluding to here.
Or any legal authority. And as an oversight committee, we must guard slavishly against a commission that has the potential to persecute and ensure that whatever is put before us meets the tenets of.
He's basically saying the Integrity Commission is not following the law. They're all going on personal feelings and using the power they have to execute those personal feelings.
Prosecution. This observation is not made, let me make it clear, because I know that many are listening and will be recording and repeating. It's not made as an accusation against the commission. It is it's a principle that must guide all public authorities that hold investigative, much less investigative and prosecutorial power.
What you need to do, though, is show us the evidence on which you make that such assertion.
Where an institution has both investigative and prosecutorial functions within its statutory architecture, the standard of care, that standard must be higher. The public interest is not served by matters being advanced beyond what the evidence and law can properly sustain. Nor is it served if strong cases are weakened by delay, by error, or by lack of clarity. So we have to hold those things into our contention and mind when deliberating on matters of importance that have been referred to us. A strong commission, therefore, must be fearless, and we will be so, disciplined. Zeal within the law, as has always been said, is a virtue. Power exercised beyond the law is a danger. And this committee will support the former and guard against the latter. Make that be very clear. At the same time, we will effectively remain within our own mandate.
Bear in mind, for those who are watching and who might not know, this is the son of a thief and a man who's probably under the illicit probe, Eugene Brown.
It does not examine a report in order to redecide the individual matter. We won't be doing that. We'll examine reports in order to review institutional performance and to report to Parliament our findings. A recommendation that procedures be strengthened, delays reduced, reporting clarified, resources addressed, or the legislation where necessary amended. That falls within our role. A direction that the Commission reach a different outcome in a particular case, that does not fall within our role, and we won't be going down that road. We built this commission with the nation's trust, and we will hold it to the nation's standard.
It is what he's alluding to, Barbara.
That is a balance that we intend to strike, and the work that this committee now begins. That said, members, you would have within your remit a number of documents that have been sent to you. The minutes from the last meeting of March 12, 2026. I would ask that we take a look on those minutes if you have not done so before. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I welcomed your opening remarks, and I thought them very timely. I noticed we are moving to matters at hand without an opportunity to actually say I found
This-
some of what you
if I
said
could-
very
if I could-
helpful.
let me-
But there
let me-
are
let
some
me-
things
let
in
me
what
ask-
you said
let
that
me-
concerns me
Let me
greatly.
assist you, because the welcoming and opening remarks perhaps is not the point in our agenda in which you would have the opportunity to refer to those issues, but you will get that opportunity.
I
So
would
the
like to be
welcome-
guided because your remarks
Yes,
were
so-
general remarks and not for individual cases. And therefore, it would be good to see at what point on the agenda that is before us that those general comments that you made at the beginning, certainly some of which I found troubling, and some glaring omissions that I was concerned about would then be raised.
That's agenda 8. Any other business? Because
That's
what
any
we
other
have now
business.
is we're at 4, welcome and opening remarks by the chair. 5 is reading and confirmation of the minutes of the meeting held on March 12, 26, which is where we would invite the minutes. 6 is matters arising from the minutes. 7, review of the reports of the Integrity Commission. And 8, any other business that you want to discuss. And at that point, I welcome whatever remarks you want to have at that time. All right? You're not on mic. Yes. Yes. So I would move to.
No. I am now on mic unless you're making a ruling that I should not be on mic.
I'm making a ruling that we can move ahead with the
No,
agenda.
I'm simply saying to you, Mr. Chair,
If you're
that at
repeating what
any
you have
other
said-
business, that at any other business, I would like to be called upon.
There's no need to say that, because I've already committed to that. And there's no difficulty. This is not the back and forth in Parliament. We're one committee. And I intend to hold us to account as one committee, not separate members. All right, so let's move to.
Mr. Chairman, I think in light of your opening comments, so members should be asked if they want to comment. The reason for this is that I thought you've made some good points, but there are other points which also can be made. The first point your comments.
Chuck.
No, I just want to say.
Member
I
Chuck.
thought that the
Member
IC
Chuck.
would be present today.
Member Chuck,
Yes.
let me say this.
Yes.
Permit me to move through the.
This girl is just another sister as Juliet Wholeness. This is just another bitchy little girl placed on the high chair.
The agenda, we will have an opportunity to ventilate all of these issues. There is nothing that says that it has to happen instantaneously. All I'm asking is that we follow the agenda. There's a purpose to its order. And as chair, I'm going to ask members to just allow that we go through very quickly. And we'll have an
with
opportunity
due
to
respect,
say
Chairman,
fully.
welcome and opening remarks should be not only for the chairman but for everyone.
You're welcoming me after I've welcomed you?
No, you're welcome, and I welcome to be here at the meeting. And
No, well, you have it wrong.
But
The opening remarks are not for you. The opening remarks are within the remit of me as chair. You have a problem, member. Go ahead.
Mine is mine is procedural too,
Yes.
because I just want to know where I will be allowed to raise, not just on what you said, but I also have some procedural questions that I'd like to ask about how the committee operates. So I want to know where on the agenda that would be.
So-
and I would say I'm guided by you, but given how extensive your opening remarks were, in fact, they were a dissertation, right, on the work of this committee, I would support Member Chuck in saying that given that extensive dialogue, it would be appropriate for members to comment.
So I thank you for your submission. And again, I note that if you read through the minutes, you recall that at the last instance, there was an opinion that was requested. The matters arising from the minutes would also be another opportunity, if you have any issue relating to procedure, for us to address that kind of matter. Member Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to understand if the ruling is that something that is mentioned in opening remarks should be addressed under AOB, because my understanding of AOB is for items that did not arise in the other parts of the agenda, that it comes at the end as almost a safety net now, that whatever you would have missed, you can now introduce it as any other business that wasn't discussed. I did not get the impression that AOB is for something that was discussed already. I certainly did not have that impression. So I'm asking for your guidance.
Yeah. All right, so the guidance is simple. We're trying to go through the agenda, get these matters treated with, and then we'll have full opportunity to go through all the different remarks. A lot of, just permit me to finish. A lot of the matters that relate to procedure will also intermingle with the matters arising from the minutes. Because a lot of what I said was based also on our last meeting where we called for the parameters within which this body will operate. So instead of repeating, what I'm asking members to do is just for us to read and confirm the minutes, and then most of the matters that you have an issue with that will be procedural in relation to what this committee's function is are actually going to arise at 6. So we don't have a difficulty in relation to whether or not you should be heard. All I'm asking is for us to move to 5, read and confirm the minutes, go to 6, and we can have all the time we want to ventilate everything. Not all the time, but we can ventilate it at that time. Yes. No, I hear you. You're talking about any other business. And I'm saying to you that one, matters relating to what I discussed that have to do with the function of the committee can be and are best discussed at 6. Any other matters, which I don't know what members have in their mind, can be discussed at 8.
Have you ever looked at your
Just
bank
another
account
Gillette
and
poll.
thought, how the hell do
Yeah.
people actually build wealth? Imagine 12.
Please. I'm saying to you, I'm not limiting my question to this particular instance. I'm looking at a precedence that is being established. I am trying to get the understanding if what you're saying, because there could be a next meeting when something that is mentioned in opening remarks is not addressed in the minutes and therefore would not be properly placed as a matter arising from the minutes.
And in that regard,
and it would not be properly placed as AOB,
yes,
because it would not be any other business, because that business would have been dealt with already.
Yes.
So I'm seeking to understand how is it that a matter that is placed squarely before us cannot be taken until we get to item 8, where we're discussing other business.
It can be taken. It can be taken. But as chair, I'm saying to you, instead of us repeating, it is the same substantive matter that we're going to treat with in the minutes.
Chairman, you put these issues on the floor, you know. You
Yes.
are the person that placed them on the floor. And so members now want to comment on the very issues that you have placed on the floor.
Yes.
So
And
why
you're
would
going
you deny them that privilege?
Nobody is denying you. Again, what you're doing is you are formulating your own opinion as to what I
But I
ultimately
can't
am seeking
formulate
to
the next
achieve.
opinion, only mine.
I know, because you're saying, what you're saying, member, is that I am seeking to deny. And I'm saying to you categorically, we don't have to go back and forth on this. It's a simple procedural matter. All I'm saying to members is let us read and confirm the minutes, because what is in the minutes is inextricably connected to what I have discussed. Read and confirm the minutes so we don't have to end up repeating ourselves. Can we read and confirm the minutes, please?
I note that the minutes, in the minutes, I am absent without apology. And I can't recall getting the invitation for this meeting or any paper, any knowledge of a meeting on March 12th.
Well,
You've been busy at sell way out. You've been busy inviting murderer to come kill we, rape we, and hold we up with gun and jaw we in a bush.
Because I've
In
been
that regard,
asked.
I'll ask that the Secretariat note that and the necessary adjustment be made.
Yes. So,
We noted, member, and we
Thank
make
you.
necessary adjustment. All right, in that being said, Member Campbell will confirm the minutes and seconded by Minister Samuda. Thank you.
Where do we make any amendments in which item here covers if there is a correction to the minutes?
You do it now.
No, I'm just based on the question or the point that was made. I'm just saying which item here would capture if there is a correction to the minutes.
Which
is it
will be
item
now.
5 that would
Reading
do
and
it?
confirmation of the minutes.
So you in the future do you want to expand this?
It is well understood that any amendments to minutes are articulated by members who are at the meeting, and those amendments will be
there are
accepted.
some agendas that you have reading of the minutes, then you have confirmation or whatever it is that you would want to make amendments to the minutes.
So you
And
want to
then you have matters arising. So I'm just asking because
So are you just for
I'm
clarity?
not talking about this meeting. I'm just talking about how we operate. Because I'm saying at another time, it could be that somebody had a correction to what was said in the minutes. And I'm just asking which item here on the agenda would accommodate it. That's what I'm asking.
So to be clear, the item that would accommodate it is the same item 5.
The way the process. So normally I think would go through page 1, page 2, page 3 to make sure that it's agreed. And the amendments or corrections or clarifications are noted as we go along. And then, it is then confirmed after the amendments have been made.
All right, so you want to go page by page?
I think it'd be a good idea.
Not a
Mr.
difficulty.
Chairman. Okay.
So we'd rescind the confirmation that was just accepted by Member Campbell and Member Samuda, and ask members if there are any issues with page 1 of the minutes of the meeting of the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee, Thursday, March 12, 2026, save and accept for the amendment or the matter that was noted by Minister Marks in relation to her absence without apology. Is there any other issue on page 1?
I would encourage the committee not to have meetings on days during the budget presentations, particularly for members who have to participate in the debates. Okay?
All right. Any issue with page 1? I'll take that as accepted. Any issue with page 2? Minister Marks, any issue with page 2? Any issue, Member Campbell, page 3? I'll take that as accepted. And page 4. Yes? All right. All separate pages having been intricately examined by members and accepted as there being no need for any further amendment under the law as constituted and the authority given to us in this House of Parliament as we serve the people of Jamaica for all 14 parishes. We then say that, or we ask, again, I'll ask Member Campbell, can we confirm the minutes? Your name? Yes, and seconded by Member Samuda. Thank you, members. All right. So we're now at matters arising from the minutes, and having gone through the minutes, members would know that the item 4 would have generally been arising from issues which we discussed at the last instance, which relate to what exactly this commission is to do, what our functions are, what are the guardrails, what are the parameters. So to you members, at item 6, any matters arising from the minutes? Minister.
Well, all right, I had my mic on. Two questions. Given that we are examining reports from the Integrity Commission, and I have questions about reports, as a procedural matter, shouldn't there be, and I think Minister Chuck was going there, a representative from the commission at these meetings? So for example, I have questions on the annual report, which nobody here would be qualified to answer. And so one is, I believe, as a matter of course, if you're examining reports, there should be a representative from the commission who is invited and participates. That's one issue. Okay, I have another one I want to come to, but I'll allow senior counsel to
Chairman,
intervene.
it is always my understanding, and even if it has not been done consistently, that when the Oversight Committee meets, we should have representative from the IC. I don't think it's appropriate for us here to be just discussing in a vacuum without them not being present.
Perfectly
that
so.
I just want to reassert that once reports are tabled in Parliament, maybe 2 weeks maximum, that we should we should have a sit to consider the report. But in considering the report, we should invite the IC to be here unless we have nothing to ask, as the case may be. But as Member Robbins is saying, he has certain questions to ask, which none of us can answer. And I would say, in going forward, Chairman, apart from what you have said in your opening remarks, I think we should ask the IC to comment on your opening remarks. And I also have a number of remarks to make on any other business, which I would also like the IC to comment on too. Okay, so we can move forward. Sorry to interrupt, Member.
No, I'll always allow senior counsel to amplify my
I
point.
hope that spirit of togetherness continues throughout.
It always exists. It always exists. Now, my second question. And
you want me to respond to one?
Huh?
I just want to add to one. Just
Okay.
to indicate that I too have asked the same question. My understanding is that we as a committee need to meet formally and then to make that request. And going forward, then that will be the circumstances under which we operate. So it was intended, but we have to have this.
Okay.
First.
My second question now relates to the ability of this committee to discuss matters related to the process that the Integrity Commission may have followed in a particular case where the subject of the investigation has initiated court action. So while I may not want to comment on the content of the report, which the subject is the report on the subject, I have questions on the process that the Integrity Commission may have followed. And I want clarity as to whether we can raise questions, have a discussion about the process that the Integrity Commission may have followed, where a subject has taken court action in relation to the report.
I think that's a very, very important matter to raise. The matter of whether issues that are sub judice fall within our remit. And it is a matter that we'll have to treat with case by case as well. Because it also will be determined, in my understanding, of what the substance of the court matter is, right? And also how the report has been constituted. But it's a matter of which we can also seek some specific guidance from counsel that supports the committee, and I will do so.
You don't need an expensive solicitor to write your will. Protect your loved ones and assets with a professionally written and legally binding will for just £19.
Horizon. Thank you,
Chair. So I do want to thank Committee Clerk and Legislative Council for the memorandum which guides us based on my question or request in last committee meeting. Just two points of clarity arising from the minutes and, of course, the actual memorandum. This confirms my recollection from the debates of 2017 and confirms my comments then that a challenge could arise from simply establishing this committee through the standing orders as opposed to clearly defining in the act how the oversight committee would function. On the subject of recommendations, well, first, before I come to the recommendations, which is in the memo, I believe also your agenda going forward will have to have a 7A and B, which will deal with the operations of the commission in line with what the standing orders allow us to do, which is to also look at their specific operations. Because as you mentioned in your opening, it's a sizable budget item and operations cannot happen in a vacuum without being interrogated here as well.
To be clear, member, you're asking for the agenda going forward to have on the review of reports of the Integrity Commission, subsection.
That would be A, and review of operations of the commission as B, which the standing orders allow for, but not covered in the agenda.
In the context of the reports?
In the context of
generally?
Generally, my understanding and reading the memorandum that is a part of the role of the committee, which is not on the agenda for today. So I believe going forward, it would need to be covered because the operations or procedures followed in relation to any
even Colonel Charles' colleague on the commission, on the committee rather, is seeing that Colonel Charles is doing a botch job today or last Thursday, whenever he did it. They realize he's doing a botch job.
Investigation or assessment from the commission can't be taken in a vacuum, also outside of their administrative operations and what guides them. So I think that needs to be done. And just on the subject of recommendations, which forms a part of the memorandum associated with the item under the minutes, I'm not totally clear whether recommendations have to come from a settled matter of the committee or recommendations through your office can be forwarded to who in the form that it is allowed from individual members as their individual recommendation. That isn't settled for me here. So, for instance, if I wanted to make 2 recommendations to the Joint Select Committee related to their work, having looked at the operations of the organization or the substance of any report, if I have a differing view from perhaps Member Robinson, would my view be able to be channeled through you to the Joint Select Committee for consideration, or would it have to be a settled matter, either by majority or consensus from the committee? That I wanted further clarity on.
Thank you, member. Just to indicate, not for me to respond to both matters, but in relation to the first matter that you raised regarding the functions or reviewing the operation of the IC, under Standing Order 73D, subsection A, I believe that is supported and understood, but it can be delineated separately as an item. I have no difficulty with that. I don't think members have any difficulty with that. As it relates to the second item, I leave that to council and the team that advises and supports us to get back to us on that.
Because they have something to hide, Jamrock. You're only fair when you have something to hide.
Pleasant afternoon, Chairman. Pleasant afternoon, members. With regard to the last question that was asked about a dissenting view, that is governed under Standing Order 80, that deals with reports from select committees, and in particular, Standing Order 80, subsection 4C, which speaks to the fact that any member dissenting from the report of the majority of the committee may, by leave of the committee, put in a concise written statement of his reasons for such dissent, and such statement shall be appended to the report. So if it is that you have a recommendation or a view that is not accepted by the majority and not contemplated in the majority report, that being the report that all of the members would
Debbie
deliberate on,
Jarvis.
you could have a minority statement or a dissenting report being attached to the majority report with the leave of the committee. I would recommend then that if such an instance should arise, that you seek the leave of the committee when the committee is actually deliberating and voting on the majority report. I trust that that helps. Okay.
£3,000. That's it. That's all it took for me to build my property business.
1 second for me, members. Yes. I want to thank Council for the clarity. I want to just bring the attention of the committee members to clause 80, section 4, subsection C of the standing orders of the House of Representatives that says any member dissenting from the report of a majority of the committee may, by leave of the committee, put in a concise written statement of his reasons for such dissent, and such statement shall be appended to the report and would properly be defined not as a minority report, I believe, but as a statement of dissent. Any other matters arising? Member Brownberg? You're any other business? No, we don't reach there yet. I'm saying we are. So there was some trouble, people. Let's leave things alone. All right. If there are no other matters arising from the minutes, what I will do is move swiftly to the reports. But I want to make a reference to these reports within context. Just to you want me to finish my sentence and then you intervene, Minister Chuck? Yeah. I'm gonna move you from beside Member Campbell. I think there's a yeah.
Everybody says say you're doing a much job.
Let's stick to the committee at hand.
Everybody says say you're muddling up
just to
the
indicate,
thing.
some members would have had the memorandum relating to the role and the functions. It's important. I also want to note that there is another specific request that was made by Member Samuda that we are compiling, completing, and at the next instance will be delivered to the committee, which is specific to the matter that you raised in relation to a report at the last instance. As we move to 7 on the agenda, as is noted, we don't have members of the IC here with us. It is noted that the committee has made the request that going forward, the committee has the sufficient support in terms of whatever resource officers from the Integrity Commission or any other body that is relevant are here to respond to whatever questions could be raised or have been raised at the previous meeting. Nevertheless, I just wanted to give some context of what the nature of the reports are that have been referred to us. It has been sent to members, but I doubt that members have been able to go through based on the voluminous nature of those reports. Yes, Member Marks.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. There's one other matter in the minutes because I'd missed the first meeting, and
You're going back to
Oh, yeah.
6.
Yes.
So let's just
sorry. Yeah, just.
I think
I'm
we have
just-
to officially ask for recommittal, do we? So we ask members for a recommittal to to item 6. Aye.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Chair. I just wanted clarification. On page 2, we looked at the functions of this committee, but I know that it's not included that we'd also look at the reform or any reform or amendment to the Integrity Commission Act. Is that the other committee, the standing? Okay, all right.
That's a joint select committee. However, what I did note and indicate is that members here are encouraged as we start to examine administrative and procedural issues, that if there are matters arising that would relate to substantive suggestions to that committee, that those will be put through to assist them in the deliberations of whatever amendments going forward.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, so we return to item 7. As I was saying, so clearly we won't be going comprehensively into any of the matters or examining matters in detail, but I do want, for the benefit of the committee, to at least give a categorization that will assist. So has this been sent to committee members? All right, so the reports that you have before us are 64 in number, and majority of them, 57 to be exact, relate to statutory declaration non-compliance, failure to file. And that's the dominant stream in terms of the matters that are before us for our consideration. We also have what I've defined as 2 other categories of matters. Substantive investigations, we have 5 of those, of which you know those matters. And in terms of annual institutional performance reports, as we had noted before, we have 2 of those before us to address. Some of them, I assume, we'll be able to summarily deal with because of the nature of those matters. But there are questions that I would encourage members to ask themselves when going through the reports. The statutory declaration, for instance, we want to find out whether, are we satisfied that the Commission is applying a consistent approach to statutory declaration, non-compliance? Are we satisfied? These are matters you would want to consider in terms. No, I'm just giving you hypotheticals. It's not relating to any matter. It's just a matter of some context to how we would want to examine and dissect the matters before us. And there are a lot of statutory declaration non-compliance matters. So we would want to ask, for instance, the committee, if they are here, the Commission, to give us some guidance, explain to us the various processes, what's the escalation of the process before a matter becomes referred, for instance, to the Director of Corruption Prosecution. These are things you want to find out. Do the repeated non-filings point to weakness in the public sector? I don't know. Awareness, do we need to raise awareness? Is there a need for us to say or suggest that there be more campaigns around awareness, around reminders at ministries, at agencies, at departments, because the goal is not to prosecute. The goal is to make sure that we are preventing and detecting corruption. And there may be genuine errors that we can avoid by ensuring that the information is effectively out there on what needs to be done. There are some persons who have genuine situations. And so should the committee recommend that public bodies strengthen their internal compliance systems and awareness around these issues. These are some of the matters that the committee is encouraged to ask. Now, in terms of the declaration, verification, and integrity breaches, which are more substantive, we have to dive into those reports to look on the operational gaps in the regimes. We have to look on the various findings. What do those findings suggest in terms of isolated breaches or recurring weaknesses in the processes across government? And for the various matters, I won't go into the detail of what members might want to interrogate, but I just encourage you that as you examine the matters, look to see whether you are satisfied that our commission, the Integrity Commission, is discharging its statutory functions under the Act. Is that being done? And if so, we must ensure that it is upheld. If not, we must ensure that matters are addressed. Importantly, again, we are definitively not here sitting to retry the reports. Our task when it comes on to addressing these matters is to determine whether, taken together, they show that the Integrity Commission is functioning effectively and within the remit of the law, and where the reports disclose recurring breaches or systemic weaknesses or whatever the follow-up actions are that are required. As a committee, we should look on that and note that, again, you have 90% or more than 90% of the 64 reports before us concerning a single unfiled form. Can this be remedied? This is something that can be improved in terms of how we treat with the matters. So we ask then that council and the secretariat, is that the right nomenclature? Secretariat, committee, clerk, note the request of the members in relation to the IC, and I'll expand that if there's no objection to whatever institution, body or so that is relevant, and to provide members with notice of who is intended to be called, so that members are not surprised by the attendance and that members can have an opportunity to prepare accordingly. Minister Sumuda.
Thank you, Chair. Just to note that the request, as per discussion in matters arising from the minutes, should also include the commission's or membership of the commission staff that can address operational matters within the context of the standing orders.
Got it.
The real advantage of using software like Xero is that we can access the numbers, the information about our business wherever we are. Ultimately, that means that we have a holistic view of our cash flow and what we need to know when we need to know it.
There's a new career and a new training that you can start with no previous experience. It pays well, provides flexibility to work around.
All right, members. Which side? Oh, my apologies. My apologies. I always glance that side.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I know that Chairman's privilege would have allowed you to make the comments that you did earlier about some of the issues that we need to ponder as we review the reports. I would like, though, to also say that one is, and you rightly covered a number of issues to consider on the part of the IC itself. I think, too, that we as members would also need to ponder how we deal with issues of individuals deliberately withholding information from the commission, and what does that mean? Are there implications for our committee with standards of behavior and so on? And just as important, I was also thinking that in a number of the cases that are failure to file, sometimes individuals have actually paid the fine that is requested of them since the filing of that. It would be important also to know. Also, there seems to be that huge gap that if I refuse to pay, then what? And as I think you had made some, you had alluded to it, if as repeat offenders, for example, then what? Because I believe that these are also some of the things that we see appearing from the cases that are before us. And also, in terms for your class 2, the substantial investigations, I am seeing in a number of the recommendations that the IC itself has made, issues that quite frankly point to an absence or breakdown in the management of the entity under review. And I believe that it is unfair to have the IC hamstrung with issues that could have been prevented if the administration of those entities, the management of those entities were to follow the laws. And I believe that we also have to talk about stuff like that and see how we can prevent that or provide some other kind of penalty or other actions that can be taken there. I just wanted to place those on record.
Thank you, Member.
Chair, I wanted to ask if we could make a request of the IC when they're coming. I don't know if they have the information, but at times, I don't know if it happens to others, but it is at times frustrating when you see all of these reports coming to the Parliament, failure to file, right? And failure to file. No, failure to file. No, to file. Yes, they didn't submit anything. Most of the reports, 57, I believe, of the ones on the list there are failure to file. Now, I agree with you, Chair, that we do not want to make criminals out of good, innocent citizens. I agree with you. That ought not to be the aim. And I agree as well that clearly there seems to be a need for greater education and awareness. But I wanted to know if the IC has any information that could show us whether or not when we have these cases of failure to file, do they eventually file, and or do they dispose of the issue, or does it result in a substantive investigation? So we could have an idea as to whether the failure is a deliberate mechanism to avoid the scrutiny, or if it was just an innocent mistake or unawareness of the obligation to do so. That's my first point. My second point is in relation to the substantive reports and the perceived damage that you would say it would do to one's reputation. And the procedure that is used to get to that point. But in looking at some information elsewhere, in the annual report, for example, if you analyze it, you realize that of the investigations that commence for illicit enrichment, for example, one has been recommended for charge, one has not been recommended for charge, and 6 have been discontinued. So it would say that only 1 of 8, which is 12.5%, that has been recommended for charge. My issue is that, well, clearly it is the operations of the Integrity Commission is such that if they start the investigation and you provide the information, there are no gaps that they discharge or they dispose of the matter and your name is never called. So clearly that protection is there. The evidence is there to support that. The issue, though, is when somebody fails to provide the information and then comes at the end to say that I'm being unfairly treated when you were asked to provide the information and did not take the opportunity to do so. Because I'm quite sure that the ones that have been disposed of, that those individuals provided the information that caused the commission to be in a position to dispose of the matter. So how we treat with those matters, the obligation to provide the information, I think is a critical matter that we should look at.
Just to respond before Member Dalrymple Filbert. Firstly, as it relates to the first issue that you raised, the nuances of the report as to what exactly the person did that led to the outcome of them being charged or otherwise. The matrix that we put together for you, if you look on it, it has a category, a column of key findings, and it speaks directly to what you said. Even at the first one, it shows that it's not that the person did not file, right? They did file thereafter, but in one of the cases, for instance, did not pay the penalty. At each case, it's very important as you start to examine all of the matters, you will note each case, even under one category, is unique in its circumstances. So it leads me to the second issue that you raised, where it might be, for some, a reasonable assumption that if you have X amount of matters, some disposed, one advanced, and one not advanced, that the one that has advanced must be then that this person did not provide. And that's not true. No, what I'm saying to you is that it is a, and I'm saying to you that's what we have to interrogate. So regardless of it being written, our duty is to interrogate the facts, look and examine the findings, and determine if that finding actually is procedurally supported by what the commission has led to. And you will find, I'm telling you, when you start to intricately examine it, that it is not true, it is a fallacy to draw an assumption or a conclusion, as you have said, that because there is one matter that stands out, it therefore means that this person did not follow the procedure. However, what you said is essential. And I think it's the same thing that Member Brownberg was saying, that as we address our minds to the activity of the commission, we should use the opportunity, we must, to say to the nation that we expect, even if it doesn't fall directly in our mandate, because we're not here to give specific direction to individual declarants, but we can use the opportunity, and we should. I see no difficulty in members making statements to remind persons of their own responsibility as a citizen, particularly responsibility as public servants and other officials who are part of this process. But again, I caution us, we cannot take an approach of simply seeing on the surface and assuming. That will lead to the wrong outcome for the committee. Yes, member. So.
With the game still deadlocked, it's time for something new.
Bear with. Bear with. Those are called mid-rolls, which we can't do anything about. We can't skip them.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I just want to pause for a moment to congratulate you on your opening remarks, because I think it is important that we recognize and say to the country that as an oversight committee, we support the Integrity Commission. Our government supports.
Look at who is speaking.
But what?
Kitty cat. Puss, 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 puss. Mayor. Mayor, puss for the butter. Puss garden milk. Look pan water. Look pan the puss with the bucket of milk. Look pan the puss with the stick of butter. Look pan the lion with the piece of cow leg. Puss, 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 puss. Come, kitty, come. Mayor. Look who's speaking.
We want to do is to prosecute where necessary and not persecute. And in persecution, it's not just the persecution, it is the absolute damage that one does to a person's reputation. And going back to what member from Eastern Westmoreland.
Let me tell you something, Dalrymple Filbert. You can't damage what somebody don't have. Come on, on a grow little sense now. You can't damage what you don't have. Basically, them say the Integrity Commission persecute them. Persecute them, not prosecuting them for their wrongdoing. Persecuting them because they're labor rights. Persecuting them because the Integrity Commission is PNP. Persecuting them because them don't like them political allegiance. That is what they are alluding to. But somebody can't damage one who never have found their one, Miss Puss, City Puss. Somebody can only damage your reputation if you had one. In the case of you all at the Jamaica Labour Party, people can't damage your reputation. Where they? What we're going to dig to find it? Christopher, you do?
Said, you cannot, and you said it, you cannot assume that simply because information is not provided, you know, it is something that you're hiding or up, because what it is that
if repeatedly asked to provide it and you failed to, in the case of the Prime Minister, where the Prime Minister don't think the Integrity Commission have the right to be asking for X, Y, or Z, even though the law permits the Integrity Commission to ask for those proof. Then what else do you think, Lady Puss?
happens, it is very often, it can happen, it has happened, where you ask for information. For one reason or the other, you don't recall. There are times.
Listen to that silly excuse, yeah?
Where there are persons who might have, for example, I just pull out of the hat. There are properties you pay taxes for, but you're in a company situation where at the end of whenever it is that you are to pay the taxes, it is brought to you and you write down and you pay, the person in the company pays it and you send it off. But that does not say that you remember that 40 years ago, your mom gave you a bit of land and you own it and you keep paying taxes for it. But you know, parents come from rural Jamaica, you have it there, you're not doing anything with it, you're paying the taxes because it is yours, but you don't even recall it. Then, so you don't have it on a report, you're asked about that.
You're paying the tax, it belongs to you, but you don't recall say a fee when it comes to declaring it. Make it make sense, you idiot. What on earth are you saying? Frightened Post. Frightened Post. Where I say and what you mean? Come in and understand. Me know me not that dunce. Me know me brighter than every labor right. That's no question asked. I may have difficulty following what you mean. What you talk about? City Post. Explain yourself so me can understand. You pay the tax to the land, but you don't remember say it for you. How that work? How that go?
Bit of land. You say, but I don't have anything like that. Or an insurance policy that you took out at 19, long before you 20 were in politics. And you have it. Sometimes you pay it. Sometimes, as a lot of persons that I'm familiar with, the policy lapse because you forget it at 19, 20, 30, not paid. But you never put it on because you don't remember it. You are asked about it. You say, but I don't have no insurance policy. You check back and you do.
But if the insurance policy lapse, that wouldn't fulfill, there would be no need to put it on your statutory declaration because you wouldn't be able to secure anything from it down the road. Is it? You're not making sense. Even to a fool like me, you're just not making sense. Continue to make fool of yourself, idiot.
And when in fact, there are two situations that can arise. You don't put it on, and a report comes because they have found it. Once your name gets there and you have not, immediately, the public assumes that it's not even a piece of land out in the country now, that you have something that you have dishonestly and you're trying to hide it, or an insurance policy that you haven't. That is one situation. And immediately, the reality is in this country that once your name appears, there is something dishonest about you. And I think it is.
I mean, I literally mean, Maricia, I literally mean, what the fuck are you talking about, darling? It is so difficult to follow what you are trying to say. I don't know even if you are understanding what you're trying to say. And imagine how us out here trying to understand what you don't understand what you're trying to say. Imagine we, Maricia with the Alpha Roscoe, Maricia with the Rada Potato, Maricia with the teeth in Mercedes Benz. Imagine.
It is not right, to put it very lightly. And the other thing is, what happens when you indicate you've been written to about something, you write and say, I don't remember that, I don't have that. But prior to
it was in your case with the car that you drove, your sister drove. I mean, how rich can you be that you doesn't remember a car? As Mr. Perkins would have said, how rich can you be? How much asset can you have so you don't remember a big old car? Thief in Maricia.
Report being done or you being charged, you're brought into a meeting with the Integrity Commission and you have recognized. You ever know when you sit and you forget, recently the bank in Falmouth wrote me about a safety deposit box. I said, I don't have one. Never had one with NCB. They said, oh yes, you have. When I find out I had it for 35 years. But listen, goes, I said, I didn't remember that. I don't have nothing in there. Better than that, you must come down because it's going to be opened. We're changing back a location. I said, it's all right, my secretary, I'll give you written permission. She can open it. If you find $1 million in there, you tell me or what, because I don't recall. No, you have to come yourself. And then the next thing comes, $19,000 to pay for the opening of the boxes. It's 30-odd years. And I'm linking this to what can happen with the Integrity Commission. So, of course, you turn up down there. I said, no, I can't. I've come in and can't come. I said, listen, open it. And I said, you have my written thing. When they open it, of course, the box is empty. Never use it yet. Never remember I had it. Nothing at all. Now, when that happens with the Integrity Commission and you go before them and you say to them, I genuinely didn't remember this, but yes, I was incorrect. My information on the document was wrong.
How do you all do your job with such bad memory? We want to have selective memory. Because off the snap of a finger, we don't remember everything Michael Manley did in the 70s. But when it comes to phone accountability, all yesterday, uno do member, uno have a memory problem when it comes to the truth. Isn't it, Marissa? Marissa, isn't it fair to say when it comes to the truth, uno have a memory problem? Or is it deliberate avoidance of facts and truth? Marissa Filbert. Remember how Mas Henry killed himself? Mr. Hen? Do you remember, Marissa, how your husband killed himself? Don't let us go there this morning, darling.
Do own this. I did have this box that I was using, and here it is. And they go through the various years, and what you say, the information was wrong. What really operates when on a basis of something like that that happens to persons? You are still charged because you forget. You have admitted, for some reason or the other, you just didn't remember that you had X. It happened long ago, and you have admitted it. You have indicated to them, and then you have some people turn in a report that, it says, add it to it, they accept it, and then you're still charged. And what happens there is that immediately those who wish to speak, to think ill of you, of course, they jump on it. And with social media these days, you destroy. So I am in full support of the Integrity Commission. I'm in full support.
No, you're not, Marissa. Marissa, you're not. Come on. You're not in support of the Integrity Commission. If it is Marissa, the wife of Henry, if it is that you're in support of the Integrity Commission, you would be compliant with the Integrity Commission. You would deploy honesty, Marissa, when dealing with the Integrity Commission. But you, Marissa, the liar and the thief, so you end up getting charged, It's not because you never remember. It's because you told lies. It's because you deliberately omitted the truth, Marissa Filbert.
Investigation. But I want to thank you because I think it's important that the nation understands that there are persons who serve in public life that have their names on documents that are tarnished, that really and truly there is no true basis for them to be there.
You're not talking about yourself and Andrew Holness or Andrew Wheatley, are you? Or what the other JLP senator were dead, where they named something another Campbell? You're not talking about any of those, Marissa.
Their reputations to be tarnished. So just want to say how important it is, your opening remarks and our approach that where there's wrongdoing, we must answer for it as public service. And whatever they do must be borne in mind that the idea is to have people in public service that are open and honest and not doing anything, but there is no requirement under the law to destroy someone's reputation at all.
Thank you, member.
It is not destroying one's reputation, Marissa Filbert. Considering the gag clause in Section 53 of the Integrity Commission report, considering no one's name, Marissa Filbert, is being put out in the public until an investigation is tabled in Parliament when completed or referred on to another competent organization like the corrupt FID or the corrupt MOCA or the corrupt tax administration of Jamaica, Marcia Filbert, or for charges, Marcia Filbert. So uno don't make it look like say when uno fail to do what uno should have done and ought to have known what to be done, the Integrity Commission attorney should know. The Integrity Commission is bound to secrecy until the investigation is completed or referred on to another competent agency to carry out further investigation before a name is published and tabled. So stop the lie. Stop telling lie on the Integrity Commission. Like the Integrity Commission is out to destroy. You know. I want a finger on the mouth, Marcia. Marcia, any destruction is caused by a jittery finger and a glued up mouth or on a bad memory in your fumble where you just try to explain. Oh, please, leave the Integrity Commission out of this. Wicked lion thief.
Before we go to Member Chuck, just to refer to your comments, I want to draw the attention of the committee to Standing Order 77, subsection 3, that says, unless the House otherwise directs the Standing Orders Committee, and the House Committee shall not, but every other select committee of which we would be a part, shall have the power to send for persons papers and records. That power is within our remit so that we can assertively interrogate, which means though something may on the surface be before us, you can call and examine, not wantonly, not frivolously, but because it's reasonable, right, to note that the things before us may not be accurate or complete, and it doesn't have to be intentional either, but they can have an impact that is deleterious on the person that is the subject. For instance, what you said, Member Campbell, you will reasonably draw some conclusions, and I don't think there's any difficulty with that. But in my knowledge and understanding, particularly in legal practice, many times when a witness is before you, you get to understand that what you thought was the facts and the guardrails are not truly that. So we have that authority to interrogate, and that interrogation will either help to strengthen the case or through scrutiny, help to protect someone that is innocent. The other thing, member, is I want to draw the attention of the committee to the Integrity Act Commission 2017, section 5, subsection 4, where the Integrity Commission, the commission shall, that's how it starts, and for the benefit of the public, the commission in the definition section of the act is and means the Integrity Commission established through the act shall A, subsections 34, subsection 3, and section 36, subsection 4, be ultimately responsible and accountable to Parliament. Not for some matters, but for all matters relating to the function of the commissioner. And it's subject to Parliament through us, primarily. And B, it monitors and reports to Parliament again on the operation and effectiveness of the provisions of this act. Member Chuck?
Chairman, I would hope you give me a little leeway to mention a number of operational matters which I want to bring to the IC commissioners and directors in terms of how they go about their work. And I bear in mind what Member Dalrymple Filbert has said. in recent times, I see, well, let me say, I've been almost 29 years in Parliament, and I've submitted about 34 statutory declarations. But in recent times, the IC have asked me a question: what improvement have I made to my home? And the cost of the improvement. I mean, I find that intrusive. No, I don't have a problem if they say, have you done any structural improvement, or you have had improvement exceeding 5 million or 10 million, as the case may be. But when you're asked, what improvement have you done to your home and the cost of the improvement, I think this is persecutorial than anything else. So my response was very simple. I have not seen any improvement to the structure. But my wife has done a lot of gardening and has doubled the number of orchids that we have on the property. I mean, you know, what more can I say?
Did they go on to ask you how you?
Delroy Chuck, those questions would be relevant in an investigation to money laundering and all that jazz, don't you think? As a senior counsel in our country, the Minister of Justice, Legal and Constitutional Affairs, don't you think that would be a relevant question in the IC portfolio when it comes to money laundering, which is something that you all do very much often?
We're able to double the number of orchids in your garden.
With due respect, and I asked the IC to comment on that when they come here. Is it appropriate to ask what improvement have you done to your home and the cost? No, it would be useful to say, have you improved your property or any property to the tune of 10 million or more, or 5 million or more? And so how did you, come by that funds? But I was worried, Chairman, because I had to ask my wife, did we paint anywhere last? No, because you might paint the house and it costs 2 million. And if you fail to say yes, I could be in trouble. Fortunately, to the best of my wife and my knowledge, no significant improvement had been done to the property. Then, Chairman, it might be useful for us to ask other parliamentarians if they have questions of the IC to bring it to our attention on both sides. Because they've gone to a process now, Chairman, where they, especially new members, they're asking persons, what did you own? Ask about property that they own before they became members of parliament. So you have situations where members came into parliament in 2020, 2025.
That is also important, Delroy, to know what Delroy, it is important to know what you own before you come to parliament, so we can trash out one on our teeth or not. You might not think, Delroy, that it is important, but it is. It really is.
And they have been asked, your property, at this, we notice you have a property that you purchased in 1970. When it turned out that property was in somebody's name, similar name, but it's somebody's different name. I mean, you waste the time of a person to respond to questions about property that you purchased before you became a member of parliament. And I think, Chairman, that the IC should not be investigating and asking.
No, we want to know, Delroy, if it is about hiding assets in the past, and will it be something, will it be a practice that will continue now that you have become a politician? Because if it is that you have hidden assets prior to coming to Parliament, it is quite likely, Delroy, that it is a practice you will continue. Patakia?
Questions about property that you own before you became a member of Parliament. So there was a colleague of mine who was asked what happened to the vehicle that you had in 1991, because it shows that he still has the certificate. And the member responded, it has been lying at my house, deteriorated.
Delroy, as per the Integrity Commission Act, you are required to declare all assets in your possession and all assets everything where you own currently, Delroy. Doesn't matter how long you have it for, before or whenever, you are required, Delroy, to declare it on your statutory declaration. Because you own it, Delroy. Don't. Idiot. Because if it is something that you can sell later on and make a dash off it, Delroy, I mean, would it not cause a conflict in your reporting when we see money, when we don't know where it come from, Delroy, because you sold a property? Delroy?
In other words, another point, Chairman, they asked me about two companies.
Maybe I'm just understanding things the wrong way.
My name appeared on. Truth at the mouth, those two companies were formed in the late 80s.
So?
Never operated. My response to them, I know nothing about the company, which was wrong.
Right?
Which was wrong. I said, I know nothing about these two companies until they pulled the registration of the companies, sent it to me, and I said, yes, those were two companies. When I was an attorney practicing, we formed several companies, but these two companies.
For money laundering purpose, Delroy. Because, Delroy, we know how shell companies work. So Delroy say he's an attorney. Delroy, we know how the money laundering scheme work, don't we? We know how the shell company them operate, Delroy. Delroy, we know say beyond your senile dementia and your bad memory. We know how shell company operate. We know say a whole heap of company when we just just a dangle in the ear, so no address, no nothing. But I just company wanna use to run money through and to hide on the money in. Delroy, we know all we know the works, Delroy. What have you done under those shell companies over the last 40 years, Delroy, or 30 years?
Never operated. And it put me through the expense of having to take these two companies and then close them at the register of companies. So what I'm saying, Chairman, I don't know to what extent it is appropriate for the IC to be asking questions of members of Parliament about properties that they owned before they became members of Parliament. I have seen.
Have you read the Integrity Commission Act, Delroy? I don't think you have. And if you have read it, I don't think you've understood it either. But then again, you always have problem with it.
I've seen and I've heard from colleagues on this side, and I'm sure it happens on your side, where the IC may be asking them about a car they're purchasing 20 years ago, and how much did you purchase it for? And you sold it in 2009, how much did you sell it for? These are things which, with due respect, Chairman, if I was the person, I wouldn't remember. I wouldn't remember who I sold it to or what I bought.
Duh. So what you done with the documents? Throw it up in the air. So we don't remember when you did band need, you don't remember your date of birth, or you don't remember what happened when you were going to school. You don't remember what happened when you were at high school, when you were at university, when you were at primary or prep school. You don't remember? No? Okay.
It for. And I think it is unfair that the IC should be doing this to members of parliament because it is happening. They're not complaining. But when you talk to them, they say, but this is intrusive. And we need
Have you read the act? Have you read the act? Can somebody tap him on the shoulder, please, because he's not listening to what we are saying. Have you read the act? Pardon his age.
I see. What is appropriate for you to be asking for members of parliament, anyone, about matters which they would not even, if they search their memory, they search their files, they wouldn't remember, right? When 7 years have passed, Chairman, they should not be asking for details. That's my view. And I think...
When 7 years have passed, you shouldn't be asking for details. When 7 years have passed, you shouldn't be talking about Michael Manley in our country neither. You shouldn't be talking about Michael Manley, nor PJ Patterson, nor Portia Simpson, because since Andrew Holness in a power, 10 or 11 years have passed. So if it is that we cannot question integrity when 7 years have passed, then you shouldn't question nothing at all in our country, Del right, Chuck.
I think we need to get the IC to set it clear that there must be a time frame. I mean, I think a colleague of mine said that they should not go beyond 2018. Anything before 2018, when the act was passed, they should not be asking questions about it. So, Chairman, I am concerned because a lot of my colleagues are being put to extreme expenses trying to get time and inconvenience trying to get information for the IC. And we need...
Andrew Holness' cabinet is almost bigger than the British cabinet. The Andrew Holness cabinet of 3 million people in Jamaica is almost bigger than the British cabinet of 68 million people. We paid you all handsomely. So you can't complain, say it a cost and an expense and time for get information for the IC. We paid you all handsomely.
The IC to do better because members feel, and that is why members feel that they're being persecuted. Again, it is possible, Chairman, that when the IC comes with electronic, and we hope it will be this year, I don't have any problem everybody filing statutory returns. But I have visited the IC when it was the corrupt.
Remember, this was the same Justice Minister that told women in our country, if you have been sexually assaulted and you cannot pluck up the urge to say something about it within 6 months, then you should shut the hell up, come off it, and move on. Yeah, same Justice Minister.
Proceedings, Chairman, when I, about 12 years ago, and they had an office similar to where the Integrity Commission is now. They have a room full, bigger than Parliament, of statutory returns. It's not possible for them to investigate. Every year they get 30,000 statutory declarations. It's just not possible for them to investigate all of this. Now, we did in the last fiscal year move the persons to file statutory returns from 5 to 12 million, I think it is. In other words, no one can file statutory return. No one needs to file statutory return unless they're earning, I think, over 12 million. But still, Chairman, I think we're wasting time. Even if 12 million are returned electronically or paper, you're still looking at 15, 20,000, members of the public bureaucracy. And I think we need, IC need to guide us if that makes sense. I have no problem saying all politicians, all councillors, all MPs, all senators must file returns. No problem. But I think it is unfair to members of the civil service. All these civil servants, you're earning good money. Every year you have to file statutory returns. I mean, for what?
Let me tell you, Delroy Chuck, why it's important for members of the civil service to file statutory returns. The biggest facilitators of corruption in our country works within the civil service. The biggest facilitators of corruption in our country, the biggest facilitators of the kickback system in our country works within the civil service. Those who do their job for a payoff, these people works in the civil service. These people who cook the books for you, for MPs and councillors, works within the civil service. It is important. What we need is a fully staffed IC and an IC with the AI capability to check all of these systems, these statutory declarations. But the people in the civil services are some of the biggest facilitators of crookery. These are the people who help to cook the books for UNO. When UNO thief off for money, these are the people them who, when them are do them job, we the public have to pay them under the counter to do their job, Delroy Chuck. It is important. Bunch of thieves.
I just feel we need to, for the IC chairman to succeed, they need to focus properly on allegations maybe, or where they get complaints or they feel that a person or persons or a department have benefited enormously, and you do those investigations. But you cannot go on a net fishing and hope to catch somebody. You need to do more spearfishing. Check out who you want to spearfish. So, Chairman, I want this IC to succeed.
Oh,
but
really?
The way it is going about it.
Like, seriously,
Chuck? It's going to damage people's reputation more than succeeding.
Thank you.
You're also hung up on your reputations, but not about the wastage of our money. You're all not concerned about your personal enrichment. All I'm not concerned about is reputation. Something we will never come to parliament with. Only one I see to protect what is not there. Like, seriously?
Member Marks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to support what Member Chuck said and ask, and just to share that I did have a conversation with the IC persons when I just came in and trying to understand the process. And I pointed out some of these things because there are too many things that are discretionary, not material enough for us to be spending so much money and time. And they said, that's your job. The Parliament created this act and it's your job to change it, which is why I asked earlier, what do we do in this committee in terms of moving in that direction? So I think when we hear these recommendations, I'd like to know that there's a channel that we move from speaking about it and that it is channeled into the other joint select and that we put it all together as part of the reform process. So we're not just talking in a vacuum. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
One day to go hold you and wash your face
I just
so we can
wanted
see what talk to
respond to Member Chuck's last set of comments in relation to the way the ICE operates. I don't know if it was this committee or the Joint Select Committee, but maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they were here and they went through a very detailed review of the statutory deductions, the statutory declarations. In addition to moving the threshold to 12 million, they adopt a risk-based approach where they determine the categories of persons whom they would require to provide the statutory declarations. And they did so because of the reason Member Chuck raised. It was physically impossible to analyze and assess properly the thousands of declarations that have come in. And they have also indicated that once the electronic declaration system is implemented, they'll be able to use AI technology to assist in doing some of the analysis. So I'm just saying to be fair to them, they have done a review to reduce the amount of persons who are declaring, and they have also, they're moving to a system which would make it easier once the electronic system is in place to do the assessment. So I don't think it is as broad as Member Chuck has said. That may have been the case maybe 5 years ago, but certainly moving it from 3 to 12 million eliminated a number of categories, and also the risk-based approach in terms of the categories of persons who would be required has also narrowed it down to persons who are in areas where they may be issuing procurement, permits, those kinds of things where there's obviously a risk of, corruption.
Thank you, Member. And further to your comments, Member Robinson, that perhaps it would be useful to all of us for the clerk or the relevant support member to provide this committee with some details of those changes in operation of the IC from what used to be the conduct in the past, and what exactly it is that follows now in terms of any amendments to how they approach these issues, the increase from 3 to 12 and other things. That would be useful, I believe, to all members. Also following up on the remarks of Member Marks and Chuck, I believe that's why we are here. And as Member Marks has reiterated, the reality is that we have the responsibility now of requesting explanations from the Commission, of conducting the relevant hearings, of obtaining legal opinions as required, reporting that to the Parliament, ensuring that the necessary changes, whether legislative or otherwise, are implemented, not just to change the IC, but to improve it. And I believe that as a committee, we have to make it clear to the country, because I'm telling you, when people hear, Member Marks, that we're changing it, there is a suspicion to many. And we have to make it clear that this oversight committee is improving the IC, strengthening the IC, enhancing the IC, protecting the people of Jamaica, and whatever change it is that we would recommend is a change for the better.
So you want to get involved in property, but you don't have the time or money. We all know that buy-to-lets make us a load of money, but there is a strategy that's a lot better, and you're going to want to listen. It's called...
That said, we are now at 8. Or was that 8? Oh, not yet? Or this is your mics are for 8? Any other business? I'm not sure which one was first. But
okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Member Samuda. So I dealt with the issue of the failure to file because that arose in the review of the reports before us. But in relation to some of the comments that you had made earlier, I am, and I'm using the opportunity to deal with the changes that we suggest. I believe that we also need to make it clear that as, and I think Member Chuck alluded to that, that as members of parliament, as ministers, we know that we should be held to a higher standard. And that by virtue of volunteering for these positions, we are expecting to be held to a higher standard. And I say that because that then has some implications for how we behave. One, in relation to our interaction with the Integrity Commission in terms of the information that they request of us. So failure to provide information by members of parliament, by ministers, I think is something that we really should look at carefully and deeply. For those of us who understand that we have to lead by example. I also want to say that suspicion is understandable by the public when we are suggesting changes because of how we also, as members of parliament, have behaved towards the IC. I go back again to the findings of the AC that indicate administrative and management weaknesses of the institutions. It also points out, I think, a responsibility from government that I believe, in as much as we talk about what we want to see in terms of changes from the IC, we also need to require those changes from government, whether it is ministers or whether these are institutions, about how they acquit their responsibilities. When I see the IC make a recommendation about training, for example, in certain areas, I'm not even sure what is the word that I need to use, because that shouldn't be coming from the IC, because that points to a significant weakness in the institution that they are examining. And I find that there are too many where their recommendation to deal with the issues end up being training, end up being further investigation by the same institution about the recourse that they can take to either recover funds spent by the institution. And I really believe that in as much as we need to hold the IC to account, we need to hold government to account, we need to hold government institutions to account, and that has to be a significant part of what we do as well, because we sometimes, by virtue of our own pronouncements, give the IC a bad rep, when in fact the failure is actually on the part of government or the institutions under review.
Thank you, Member Samuda.
Thank you, Chair. Two matters for your and colleagues' consideration.
The truth is,
one, section
I really
64
don't know
enables regulation.
if I properly understand the PNP position on the Integrity Commission, because I do believe they are hoping one day when we come in power, this is going to be a ticks in our backside as well. So I'm not quite certain I understand the PNP's lockdown position on the IC.
Chance to be created for the procedures related to filings of the members of the Integrity Commission. Certainly members.
So the hoops the higher, you know.
Of staff and commissioners themselves, those regulations don't yet exist. And the inherent conflict identified by both the Joint Select Committee and the previous Oversight Committee of members of staff declaring to themselves and examining themselves has not yet.
Matthew Tumuda, I don't think you're right on the issue of the Integrity Commission assessing themselves. I'm sure I remember Justice Panton in the past told us, either Justice Panton or Pamela Monroe Ellis, that the IC staff are audited by an external body. I think that can be found in the annual report, Matthew Samuda.
Been addressed. And I think the first recommendation that this, not first, but obviously there have been points raised today, but certainly one of the issues that should be forwarded to the attention of the Joint Select Committee for Legislative Change should be, to my mind, that this group of individuals should have their evaluation or their review done by an external body, whether the FID or Auditor General, if the Auditor General doesn't remain on the commissioners. That has been a source of much.
This is one of the things they want to do. They want to remove the Auditor General of the commission. And then he wants FID to review members of the IC as well as members of Parliament. But the members of the IC don't review themselves. They are reviewed under external audits.
Discussion, but certainly you can't review yourself.
They're not.
Other request I have would be.
I'm sure if you check properly, Matthew Samuda, they're not the ones who audit themselves. Please double check that. I'm sure their audit is done by an external body. I'm sure you can find that in the Integrity Commission's annual reports.
Any research done or available, or if it hasn't been done, that it be done on what the appropriate arrangements are for oversight committees of similar commissions within similar jurisprudence. Meaning you are providing oversight.
Not similar jurisprudence. The word you would be looking for is jurisdiction, not jurisprudence.
Someone who is providing oversight to you, of you. It's a odd arrangement, certainly feels that way to me, and that has given rise, I think, to members on both sides not wanting to serve on this particular committee. That has given rise to comments made in the past of fear of victimization, whether real or imagined. And I think any research that exists on, or any context that exists, or any best practices in other jurisdictions would be useful for this committee to contemplate. Similarly, should we be declaring to the FID, which has the capacity to examine as they do fit and proper for persons in the financial industry or for attorneys?
No, they don't. They don't. Right. I've asked for FID to become a part of the Integrity Commission. But this is not what Matthew Samuda is asking for. Matthew Samuda is asking that the MPs of Parliament no longer have their certification done under the jurisdiction of the IC, but under the jurisdiction of FID, which is outside. Now that you have Dennis Chung there, who say there's nothing to see or hear anywhere when it comes to corruption of the Prime Minister and members of the Jamaica Labour Party. It is what Matthew Samuda is asking to be done. This is a further, this would have been, will be further destruction of the IC. You want to remove Pamela Monroe Ellis, and you want to, you want to remove Pamela Monroe Ellis, and you also want to take away the IC's jurisdiction over MPs filing and give to the Prime Minister's friend. So therefore, nobody would be under the illicit probe. because Dennis Strong one dunce, dunce, and corrupt, cronyized. So there would be nothing that Dennis Strong sees wrong. Just like how Dennis Strong does nothing wrong with the Prime Minister's statutory declaration and the money laundering, the drug dealing, the weapon sale, the fraud and the robbery, wherever it is or whichever the Prime Minister under illicit investigation for. Illicit money come by any dirty means, Andrew. Illicit enrichment come by some or any dirty means. Which one of them, Andrew Holness? Drug dealing, weapon sales, scamming, my bit of money out of scamming, my kickback, my under the table pushing. Which one, Andrew?
It's a thought, and I think it is worthy of examination here for a recommendation to go whether to continue as is, to strengthen, to totally change. Us being on the oversight committee, we all know how we feel about the particular issue and how you feel about the oversight that you're being asked to provide. I think those matters need to, during our tenure, be examined. And with that, a consideration also is, should the committee, as is, continue to be a special select committee, as the standing orders give rise to, or should it include all parliamentarians as a special joint select committee, considering that the oversight affects those members as well? So just points for your consideration, colleagues, through you, Chair. But I believe, and the request is on the floor for any research that exists, and if none exists.
Now, these are the people. These are the very same people who refuse to sign up to the Nolan principle of good governance. These people who are here defending their reputation. These people who are here defending their reputation, something what we don't see them with, something where they never arrive with. How can the integrity? So one you know, the Integrity Commission for go to something just for free, so just so. Just take up integrity for so go no. While uno can't keep on a finger on the side, uno can't speak a plain word of truth out on the mouth. And the nation's integrity body must give you a clean bill of health, a clean slate to write on. And then you're going to take a dirty hit up again, because you can't keep on a finger, you know. Or you can't keep on a finger, and you can't keep on a mouth.
For greater, or for some research to be done, to guide us in terms of what exists in other jurisdictions. Because if you're providing oversight, your files should probably go through the Director of Information to be reviewed at FID, not at the same entity that you're providing oversight for. Just a contemplation.
I don't think he understands his contemplation. Rather sound like a confusion, Mr. Samoda.
Critical matters, member, I can confirm that the Joint Select Committee had started the deliberations on that issue relating to whether the person responsible for reviewing should then be reviewing themselves in terms of the compliance issues for that. So that's a matter that we could ask to have reiterated at the Joint Select Committee level, and whatever issues we would want to put forward or advance, we can do so to strengthen their examination of that point. I want you to just go back to Member Brown-Burke. He raised a very interesting and important issue in relation to declarants and what our responsibility as an oversight committee would be to examine or in relation to the issue of the responsibility of a declarant. Perhaps it's a matter that we can be guided on, and I'd ask the council's view. But in my estimation, the Oversight Committee does not have the authority to dive into the declarant's activity in that regard. We, however, can encourage. We, however, can speak to whether or not the activity of a declarant is affecting the Commission's ability to effect its mandate. But just for those listening, it would be very important to distinguish between the two. Our responsibility to hold the Commission to account as to what procedures it implements in gathering information and how it operates and functions in terms of the different systems used to gather and how it operates in terms of how it ultimately determines whether somebody is found to be in illicit enrichment or whatever other charge. That's the remit within which we operate. But otherwise, we'd have to be encouraging because we would not have the responsibility, I believe, to see it to a declarant. You did not do so, and therefore it's a problem. I just want to be clear on that. Otherwise, for the other comments that were made by colleagues, I think it's very important. And where necessary, I'd ask the clerk, council, and the support teams to make sure that the relevant issues are put into a written construct and to be delivered to the Joint Select Committee once that is up and running. And otherwise, that the comments are noted, not just in minutes, but in a form that would assist members in terms of our preparation for the next meeting when the IC and other relevant officers will be here. It will assist us in terms of the conduct of our examination and whatever other information we seek to elicit. All right.
Yeah, I seek your indulgence, Mr. Chair. One, because you did comment on a matter that I said, and I wanted to make sure that there is absolutely no misunderstanding. And also because when I spoke then, I had forgotten to include in response to your opening remarks and the principles that you spoke about that should guide us, that there were some principles that I thought should also guide Parliament in terms of how Parliament dealt with the reports that came before it, and therefore those that came before us as a committee. And I wanted to also broaden your principle of fairness and your principle of timeliness to the actions of the Parliament that allows us as a committee to do our work as well. That because I thought that it was needed, that there should be no bias about what came before us, and that there should be also no preferential or bias in terms of the timeliness with which those matters came before us. But as it relates to what I had said about the act of the declarants, in as much as quite a few of the findings turn on declarants refusing to provide information. My major concern was about those of us who are part of this group and over which we also have responsibility, not necessarily as declarants, but as members of the Parliament, and the kind of behavior that we would expect. So that would come, I believe, Mr. Chair, in terms of what you had commented, that some of what would be said could be active, could be channeled to other committees within the Parliament that actually do have responsibility about the conduct of members of Parliament. And it was in that vein that I really had wanted to make the comments.
Thank you, Member. I think we have to be free to encourage. As a part of our responsibility, it's beyond just the remit of laser focus on the Commission. We're here to strengthen the nation's capacity to prevent and detect corruption. And as I said before, in terms of the substantive authority that we have, we examine the commission's processes as distinct from reinvestigating an individual declarant's affairs. But I agree with you. We must use the opportunity to inform, to encourage, to empower, to educate our colleagues and to educate the country. All right, that said, we're moving steadily ahead. The next matter for business, number 9, is a date of the next meeting.
All right, so basically, them finish them brouhaha and them mayors. I do think, and I believed, Mark Golden wrote the Integrity Act in good faith when they were in power to tackle corruption in our country. Though I don't believe the PNP will make it to power with Mark Golden leadership unless Andrew Holness seriously blunders. I think when it comes to anti-corruption within the ruling party, with Mark Golden as a prime minister, would do well to fight against corruption. I do believe that. I'll stand corrected on that. I also do believe the people Mark Golden leads in this current opposition, I don't know if they're on the same page as Mark Golden when it comes to the cleaning up of corruption in our country. I don't know if I really understand the People's National Party position on the Integrity Commission. But we will watch and see. I did tell you that this morning's show would be a bit lengthy. We've gone almost 2.5 hours. We'll go down here now, Ladybug. Come here for run to Brixton and I'll go buy some mango. Never get the chance. I got to Brixton late. When I was coming through Brixton Saturday evening, mango shop closed up already. So I have to run to Brixton now, go get mango before mango shop lock. So, thank you all for being here this morning. Join us back tonight where we will be looking at the farming situation with Fiona Beswick and the rules that apply to farmers, the draconian rules that apply to farmers and those with livestock and all that jazz. So, please do join us back tonight for our People's Point of View program when we will be looking at the government draconian policies when it comes to agriculture in our country, the destruction rather of agriculture, local farming and local livestock farmers in our country. So thank you very much. I really don't understand where the PNP is going on the issue of the Integrity Commission. It would be good to see them in power and to see if they take the same behavior of the Jamaica Labour Party when they are in power in dealing with the Integrity Commission. So thank you for being here this morning. If you have not yet hit the like button, please do so. If you're a silent watcher and you are not yet subscribed to the program, please do subscribe to any of the channels you are watching on. Thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon from Global TV.
Too long in our little ghetto, run keep going on, less process.
Hold on, Abena, is this new news coming up? Let me grab my phone. is this new news coming in? Because I know that he stepped down from the cabinet. What? Because I dealt with the question I asked. He resigned. He stepped aside from the shadow cabinet. I don't know if he resigned from the party, because I asked Mark Golden the question this morning earlier on, if Dwayne Vaz stepping aside has anything to do with the Julian Chang's investigation. But I'm not aware of him resigning from the party per se. I'm not aware of that. I haven't seen any reporting of that. However, he has stepped aside from the shadow cabinet in order to focus, they say, on his constituency, which is a bit of a monkey story. When you hear an MP say they step aside to focus on their constituency, that's not something one would want to listen to. So I don't know if there's any new development with him resigning from the party, but he stepped aside from the shadow cabinet to focus on his constituency. That is what I'm aware of. That's the latest reporting I'm seeing. But if there's any latest development, we will see it somewhere today. But let us keep an eye out. If we don't see anything, we'll send it on to us. All right? See you later.
Too long in our little ghetto, run keep going on, less process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just a and I say watch a man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I she never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare every the way. Prepare every the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down, war cry. Fight down, listen Rastafari. War and cry and do the righteousness. And we love and we love Jaja. And we love Jaja. Rastafari, save all people. And we love Jaja. We love Jaja. We love Jaja. Rastafari, save all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just a and I say watch a man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, but we penalize day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare every the way. Prepare every the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and cry. Fight down war and cry. Rastafari, war and cry. And build up righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Rastafari. We love all. And we love Jah. Me love Jah. Me love Jah. Rastafari. Preserve all. Me love Jah. Rastafari. Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ, oh, thy peace, God of my salvation. Because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make man throw one stone and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rob and cheat, and not press the poor. Make out what I seen to. Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite part, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see, they didn't can sell out Rasta, and sell it out, I sell out Babylon. They give man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see, they can sell out Rasta, I sell out, I sell out Babylon. Yes, stop on the Friday. You might show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black baby man, throw and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big him and throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what's a black big him and throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.